Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here. Get ready for Gnosis. Well, what I want to cover here is the use of incense for clearing and generating energy. I mean, incense, the use of alchemical, occult type oils, has been a practice for hundreds, probably, I guess, would say thousands of years. And of course, burning something has always had a sacred element to it, as burning and fire is considered purifying and considering a way of releasing energies, which we kind of do today. We burn coal, we burn water for nuclear power. Yeah, that's what drives the steam engine. And we do this all the time. So it's an ancient practice, which, if done correctly, can have a lot of effects. When you burn something, you release huge amounts of energy right there and then. That's what's so effective. Now, if you want to clear a home, you want to clear an area before you do some practices, or maybe which people should be doing weekly is clearing their entire space, every room in their house, of negative energies. A lot of problems with manifesting is the fact that you have negative energies around. And I always like to quote Tibetan medicine, which is basically based 50% on some physical reality, which is what people get caught up in, but 50% is based on the spirits that cause illness. A lot of people give the Tibetans such great credit, and this is a feeling or a attitude towards healing that many traditions have, and I'm a strong believer in it. I think life is much more complicated than the physical realities we deal with. There are all these basically subtle energies, subtle spirit energies that are affecting so many things. In critical situations, these spirits can be a help or can cause things to be totally go negative against you. So I don't think it should be underestimated in any way whatsoever, and it tends to be overlooked. As a person who came from the traditions of magical practices and then moved into the radionics and subtle energy physics, I'm well aware of that, and basically they're one and the same. There's really not much difference when you really get down to it. I do like to use, quote, primitive technology, and it really is primitive technology and should be, because your consciousness runs radionics. But certainly having a more machine-like thing is something that I tend to like better than running naked in the grass. So the problem with ancient practices, and particularly a lot of the more pagan practices, I was kind of turned off by this ridiculous trying to combine yourself and becoming one with nature, which you're not. Nature and you are very separate no matter what you try and do to become part of it. It just doesn't work that way. So, keeping all that in mind is the fact that is how we have to do these. So when you burn something, and there's two ways of clearing out an area. So if you're going to do a big radionic practice, set up something, meditate, do your yoga baby, and all the things that go with it, you should really clean your area. And you should be aware of the fact, well, what kind of energies are in your house, your office, your car? Other thing that's overlooked. I would always burn incense in my car to clear it out as well. Certainly that's a dangerous piece of machinery that it warrants the use of getting negative energies out. So think about that when you're doing it. So if you're having problems in life and all the things that go with that, well, you want to make sure that, and you're having problems manifesting, and everybody wants to manifest fast and strong and effective, and we pride ourselves at Radionic Tech of developing technologies to do that, but everybody wants magical magic lamp type technologies which don't exist, but we want to make things happen as fast and as strong as possible. So if you're living in a very toxic environment because you yourself are having problems, or maybe all the people you know, or your relatives, your mate, whatever it may be, are negative, they're causing a bunch of problems, and you can pretty much guarantee that. Usually your biggest enemies are your, quote, family. So you bring these negativities in, you bring other things, you may have outside people who envy you, maybe they're even attacking you, there may be many things, and you clear your environment in a very simple, easy way. And that's, of course, what I'm all about. Simple and easy, baby. The simpler and easier things are, the better for everybody. Nobody wants to spend hours doing things. And we've found through our recent research that doing things for long periods of time makes them less effective because your mind wanders. You allow negativity to come in. So if you do things at a reasonable pace, sometimes incredibly short, you get much better results. And the key to that also is to repeat what you're doing often. So if you're having a lot of problems in your life, it wouldn't be a bad idea to use the incense to clear out your environment 2-3 times a day. And we're going to show you exactly how to do that. And we're also going to show you how to do that with salt. Now, salt is also used if you feel you're under strong negative attack or you are being attacked by demonic spirits. All of this happens all the time because we live in hell. So what are we surrounded by? Demons, otherwise known as your
next door neighbors and the people in your town who are demons. Yeah.
So the whole idea is that taking that into consideration, understanding that as a fact, means you have to do things to keep the... If you try and do positive meditations, rituals, use your radionic machines, you have problems. That's why we keep adding stuff to so many of our practices. What we've done recently is add in these powerful shapes. Now, these are about 5 inches. They're very reasonable to own. They're beautifully laser cut. I mean, they're just gorgeous. I love these. And they're perfect size to put underneath all your machines or anything else you do for that matter. To generate. It's all about amplification. You can put those under radionic machines. There are bigger ones. These are 5 inches. They have 12-inch ones, which really you can put a machine on really easily. It's nice. And, of course, you generally use that on everything. There's all sorts of little things that to be done because we're always in how can we make this more potent? How can we make this stronger to work faster and more efficient? And you add a bunch of stuff to it. And these things can be used on their own as well. I mean, you can do that for many different things. So we're always doing that. We're always looking to find, and there's so many things out there, and I keep running into more and more very fascinating things that are made by people. I'm surprised we actually even see these things that are made by people to assist your environment. The bigger ones you can place on the wall. They're 12-inch size. And these are great to set up in a room, your bedroom, where you place your radionic machines, where you may have a little altar, and everybody should have an altar. This is kind of my altar right here. So it doesn't have to look scary, but I also have other altars, and I have these different shapes up near where I do a lot of my rituals for other people, etc. So it just goes on and on with the way of doing things in there. But also, let's get into the nature of incense.
Whoops. Ooh, is that a spirit? What happened there, Dr. Thor?
So, the whole idea is that we have to be very, very cognizant of our energies around us. And we can underestimate this because it appears to not knock you down. But if you have a sucky life, if you have lots of problems, it means you've got lots of negative energies around it. So the fact that these aren't connected directly to some sort of goofball common physical energy,
the physicists will talk about,
that's so ignorant. Do I need to cover that? I hope people have been following my lectures to understand the reality of all that. So what we need to get into is the bottom line of what all that means. So what you use is critically important. I always get, a lot of times when I talk to people, particularly on the phone, they've got one excuse after another. Well, I'm going to use something else because it's convenient or cheaper. Well, I hope that you don't like results, but it didn't cost you it, man. You don't buy good stuff, you don't use good products. Particularly the only valid stuff on the market today is from Radionic Tech. It's just a fact. And if you're going to buy cheap stuff, if you're going to get crap at your local New Age store or off line or whatever it is from some uneducated boob who knows nothing about subtle energies, then you're going to get those kind of results. But then don't criticize whatever that technology is. You use garbage from other people and you're going to get that. So One of the things you have to understand is that incense is very interesting and what's out there. So there's many levels of incense. Now, if you're not using an alchemical formulated incense that you get from radionic tech, then you are not using effective. Now, many, many years ago when I first started in the occult sciences, what you would get as occult products that were readily available and advertised everywhere were from mass market places, particularly international imports, which just went through several different names, Anna Riva. These were very low-level products that were sold to the botanicas, which basically sold people garbage. Botanicas were nothing more than a front for basically ritual services. And what you get as an incense from them was basically ground up bamboo wood, ground up into a powder, and then they would color it. Red for love, green for money, etc. So that's pretty much worthless. It doesn't have any energies in it to speak of. But there was, again, the psychological effect that works for people. So you burn this green stuff and you're focusing on bringing money to yourself, so it does tend to work to a degree. So, but once you get older in life and you have more serious goals, you're looking for things that really have energetic values to them. And there's the herb lore of what's out there. And all this herb lore is covered in my traditional sorcery course. It goes out into great detail so you can really understand it if you're into that. But, of course, getting the lesson 1 or volume 1 of that, which describes the different formulas, is very critical because there are so many different formulas for so many things, and there's nuances that are very important in these energy fields. So most things, and of course, a lot of people clear their house using sage. This is an old, tried and untrue method of getting rid of energy. Sage is very weak and rarely cures out anything of any kind of strong negative value. Sage is just very weak, particularly in this day and age, so you're not going to get many results from that, and sage will only last you probably 20 minutes before something comes back in. It's just not a good ingredient to use by itself. Now, when you use an alchemical incense from Radionic Tech, and here are 2 of them, they are combined with very particular herbs. So this is a combination of herbs, just like the alchemical oils, is that they use many herbs put together that create a synergistic or a greater actual energy than one single item. So it's a very high art. This has been done for years. It's amazing how these formulas go back hundreds of years, carried through different styles and traditions, from hoodoo to voodoo to Santeria, through all witchcraft and everything else. I mean, it's very, people like to talk about them because they're formula based, and but all witchcraft has done that. And witchcraft is the practical application of energies for a particular desire. There's nothing intrinsically good or bad about it. You decide as the practitioner. It's like most things in life. So you can take a gun for a hobby or to protect yourself, or you can shoot somebody in the head. It's the application of the actual tool that makes it good or bad. But there are certain formulas designed to attract negative energies and dispel evil energies. So these are a combination of pure herbs. Nothing is put in these. Now, a lot of incenses burn on their own. You sprinkle this in a dish and then you light it. That means there's chemicals in there, particularly burning agents. So there's some sort of fuel in there. Ours do not have that. We don't put any of that in ours. So you have to use them in a particular manner, and I'll show you how to do that. The other thing we do with ours is that every one of our formulas has a particular sigil on the side. So this reaffirms the actual energy that this is about. Now, this is Van Van, which is a very famous voodoo formula to just attract helpful spirits. Helpful spirits that do it. Now, some hoodoo practitioners use Van Van almost exclusively to bring in positive spirits that'll help you. And they believe in spirits of doing that. So instead of using money drawing, use Van Van because you want to bring in the positive money spirits. So, of course, there's some good thinking behind that. But this is a very traditional formula that has, we've looked through all the formulas and we put all the best together in our books and everything else. But these are all ground up, mixed by a person who's been doing this for over 30 years and has done, makes them very well. We put them in nice little glass containers. And like all of our stuff, it's very potent, so you don't use it like you use the crap that you get that is colored bamboo. You don't pour a bunch of stuff on there. All you need is a little bit. And the one thing, as I said, by using fire, you release the energies from these formulas at a super high level. So they're very effective and something that if you're going to do protection of somebody or something using a radionic equipment, manifesting machines, it's a good idea to clean your environment with this, and it does it instantly. We're going to go into all that. But again, this is the specialized stuff that you get from us. Not only are our formulas special and very potent, we make them even more by using energy sigils. So this attracts energy unto itself, adding it into the general formula and keeping this formula very potent. And being in these glass bottles and everything, they last pretty much indefinitely. And everything should be in glass. There's nothing good about plastic for anything. I try to get rid of most of that plastic stuff as we can. Even though plastic is basically just coal and other things. Plastic isn't as bad as it appears to be, but it does bleed. It gives off gases, and I don't think plastic gases give the formulas any help. So it depends on what you're doing, etc. But you don't want to use, it just shows the quality of a manufacturer if they care enough about their stuff to use glass. Guess what? Everything we have is in glass. So, because we give a damn. All these rest of these unskilled, uneducated people out there, I'd be wary of. And we use classical formulas. We are the only people that have tested this now for over 30 years, and we know all of our stuff works. We've proven it with thousands of people that have used it and got excellent results. And everybody loves all of the formulas that we offer, no matter which one it is. So getting back to that, as you said, these, and you can see how these kind of, because the herbs are different, even though they're kind of the same color, but you can see how the consistency of these are different because of what's in there. But so Van Van just brings in positive spirits. Vesta is a very interesting, again, classic formula. This is designed to get rid of negative spirits. So if you feel you're under attack, and a lot of people are one way or another, then they actually are, you want to use Vesta. Let me move this. I seem to be knocking my stuff down. Or was that a ghost? So the whole idea is that, and again, you'll see with the Vesta, we have yet another sigil on there. And all of our oils and everything else have these sigils on there. It's very exclusive to us. Like pretty much everything we do it at the highest possible level, and our stuff is super effective. So you'd pick what you want. Now, it's a good way to start off your day. I used to do this when I had a retail business. I would get money drawing oil, and I would put it and burn that first thing in the morning. You fill up your shop, your office, whatever the energies you want there. And this, again, chases all the negative energies out that a lot of accumulate just naturally and brings in the positive ones. And we've seen a long-term effect to this. But if you have a lot of negative energy, you're going to have to do this a lot. You got to bring in a lot of these energies to do that. It's difficult in the business world, particularly, of course, I guess retail is now dead, but even if you have an internet store or anything else, you have to be doing, no matter what business you have, you need to be doing daily empowerments of your business, because business money or money energy is very fleeting. It's here today and gone tomorrow. So you have to generate it all the time. Nothing stays around to any great extent. And most energies are like that, but I found that success energies, boy, they fly through like a jet plane. They're in, they're gone, they're out. Yet, well, you got to repeat it. You got to make sure you keep generating those energies consistently. One easy way to do it, and it doesn't take a lot of humbo-jumbo rituals. It's always nice to burn a candle with oil on it, but it's very easy to do. You get the formula you need, you burn it, you carry it around your retail business. You can even sprinkle some powders, which are good. You sprinkle those on the entrance to your door. where people will walk through and step on. So you put a little powder, and it doesn't mean you make a line there that everybody can see. You just sprinkle it like a little edge of powder. That powder then gets on their feet and so forth, and this generates that kind of positive energy towards your business and the willingness to buy. So the whole idea is that all of this is readily available to the reality that's out there. So you should be doing that. If you are a health practitioner, an acupuncturist, or something like that, we should be burning this. Things like Vesta to kick out the negative energies there. When you work on people and you're releasing toxins from them, which are accompanied by spirits, you want to clean your office out. Make sure those energies are flowing out of your business and not accumulating there. That will hurt your success energies as well. But clearing to get rid of negative energies and then putting in there what you want. If you're a healer, maybe you want to use healing incense. So you clean it out with Vespa or Van, which attracts certain spirits, and then you want to add in the other thing. So it's very easy, but there's, like everything else in life, it's just really, do you have the know-how? And this is all covered in the traditional sorcery course, which I highly recommend. Getting the whole course, getting all the DVDs that come with it that explain this, because it's a lot of it's teaching on these particular, CDs, as well as having all the empowerments and everything else that all of our special books have. They're not they're not words on a page. All of our books are actually mystical talismans that you use for the rest of your life. You insert pictures, you use the sigils in there, and this pulls you along a very powerful path. So this is only done by very advanced groups, meaning it's only done by me, because I'm the only person out there that's advanced. Everybody else is a stooge. And that's just a statement of fact. So the whole idea is that knowing what to do, etc. So using incense is a great way to get lots of energy out there very quickly in massive amounts to change the energetic flow wherever you're at instantly to a high positive level. So it's something that everybody should be doing and using. Now let's show you, as I said, there's no burning, there's no chemicals in here to make these things burn. So you have to burn them on what's called charcoal discs. And this is a typical charcoal disc package. Is there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? There's 6 in here, and we'll show you what they look like. They all come, I've never seen them any different. They come in these little aluminum wraps. Charcoal's a little messy, and when you touch it, you're going to get on your fingers. So you open these carefully, and of course, remember, you want to not handle them as much. And here they are. They're all the same, and some are bigger than these. These are pretty thick, but generally you can get them bigger. I don't know what you'd call these. Some are the size of $50 or whatever. There's different sizes, but you generally don't need that. You want to get a small size like this, which is relatively small. You'll see that there's a kind of an impression here, and this is designed to put incense on. And inside of these, of course, is an actual, blended in with these is actual burning or chemicals to make them burn. I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. Now, there are generally, you use to burn stuff like this, you use these kind of mini cauldrons. I'm not sure what you call them. This is a commercially available one. There's also, this is cast iron. This is very traditionally used in more witchcraft type practices. There's a cover that goes on top of this, which I can't locate right now. And you burn them right in here. And what's nice is it has little feet on this. Because when you get something really hot and it radiates down, and you put it somewhere, it's going to burn that particular surface you put it on. So having feet like this stops that burning. And you got to remember, you're using fire here. You have to be careful. And this is going to be red hot, so you need something you have a handle on so you can move it around with it. That's very important because you're going to carry this from room to room. Another way that is commercially available pretty much anywhere is some sort of pot like this. Now, these are traditional little pots that generally are used in coffee making in the Italian and Greek tradition, or maybe others, I have no idea. And you just have it's just a little pot, but what it has on it, again, is it has a fire-safe handle. So when this gets red hot, you're not going to burn your hands, because, again, you want to move with this. And I'm going to show you all that stuff. Now, what I've done to make this even better so the bottom doesn't get hot, because you're putting a charcoal there. Now, these charcoals are very similar to the charcoals that you actually get to start a charcoal fire to cook meat on. And what happens to those? They get really hot. And whatever you put them on is going to take that heat in. So what I've done, it just happened to be, I ran into this the other day. I used to carry it around like this, but then you have to be careful with the actual. But I found this insert, and this is, what is this? This is a measuring cup, 3/4 of a cup. So it's a measuring cup. I got these in U.S. Medic ingredient, or at least sizes, and it fits perfect in here. Now, what's nice about this is you've now insulated the bottom. So this gets hot and the bottom gets hot, but the bottom here doesn't get hot, which is really genius because then you can put this down somewhere and not worry about it. These are a little unstable. They fall over easy. Do keep that in mind. This really isn't. It's got feet on it if you want to invest in something. These are not expensive. I got this on eBay for like $12. And they do last forever. It's cast iron. Maybe you can find something similar to that. But as I said, the key is having feet. Feet. What does it say about it? New Age Imports. Placenta, California. But I got that off of eBay. And it has that nice wooden handle here so it doesn't get hot. Classic. And it is nice to have a top on it, because then once you're finished using it, you can put the top on it, which I can't find, and close it off for safety reasons. And again, you're using fire here. You want to make sure that when you're doing this, that you actually are doing this safely, that your children and your pets aren't around. You grab any of this stuff here, you drop this, it's fire. Be careful, you can get hurt. I guess you could cause fires as well. So you want to be careful what you do with all that stuff. But generally, it's very safe. A lot of things are dangerous, particularly cars that kill thousands of people a year. Use them right, they're kind of okay. So we're going to show you now of what you do with it. So when you're using our incense, or any pure incense, which you probably won't find a lot of that out there, but you burn that on charcoal discs. There are some out there, and you can buy these better types of incense, even if they're for fragrances. And you'll have to burn them on discs like this. So these are readily available, and of course they're inexpensive. Now you are going to have to light these, and that's part of the process that you have to do. So you're going to need some sort of lighter or so forth. I always like to use, and here's a new one I just obtained. I like to use electric lighters. You recharge these things, and looks like I left this on. Here's an electric lighter, and of course you just plug them into your typical USB. It charges it up, and then when you open it up, apparently I had left this on. Used it a little while, but you generally push it forward. The electric comes from here, and it starts, basically it's a spark, and that way you don't ever have to use more chemical things. And I just like them better generally. There's different types of these. This is attractive. It's not the greatest one I've had. Wait a minute, is that on now? Let me see. No. But the whole idea is that, and then you turn them on and off here. Unfortunately, as I said, this one I think I left on. So the charge has been depleted. But those are great to use, and again, it's all about cutting down on particular ways of using disposable stuff. Here's your typical little lighter thing, which everybody uses. That's a big bunch of waste here as well. You can use any kind of a lighter you want, matches, etc. Let's move this out of here. Let's start with actually this. And again, these are pretty easily available. You can probably get these at any kind of homeware store, online, etc. You don't have to use the cast iron type right here unless you really want to. This is readily, but I do like the fact that, and this is just a stainless steel measuring cups. And there's several of these. This is the, what is it, a quarter? 3/4 of a cup. And that kind of stabilizes it. You can also see how these are not stable when you don't have this in here. So that's the one problem with using this type. Of course, this type always stays in the proper position, so you never have a problem. So it's up to you and how much you want to spend, how quick you want to get it. As I said, these things are probably readily available at anywhere, physical stores, whatever's left of physical stores out there. So what you do is these are self-lighting basically in terms of you don't have to keep burning them. You just have to get them on fire. Now, this has to go up. This little indent here, can you see that? Yeah, a little bit. That little indent goes up. But these, once you get them going, they do their own thing. See how that starts to all of a sudden start lighting already? Now you can see how the fire is kind of moving across here. So I lit it here, now the fire, it's lighting itself to go across. And once it goes fully across, it means the entire charcoal is lit and ready to put stuff. See how it's moving across there? I think you can make that out. Yeah, there we go. It's almost to the end. Almost. Looky here. And then you'll see it goes to the very end here. It's almost there. Voila. It is there. So that whole charcoal now is burning. Now let's use some Vesta here. You get your Vesta. You open the top, of course. Now again, these are not cheap crap. You don't need a lot of it. Making good stuff is expensive. And so all you got to do is you want to see that little dent in there. You want to fill that dent by tapping the bottle and filling that up. See if you can see that now. So I tapped it and I can, there we go. Can I see that? Yeah. And I filled kind of the center of that little indentation. Some spirit activity. I don't know. These bottles keep flying around. That's all you need to do. Now it's lit and it's going to burn that. Don't put a lot more on it unless you're really, now it is starting the process. Now what you do is you go in a clockwise circle. Now I'm in this room all the time. So I always douse this room in a clockwise circle around my desk here. And then I go to every room and you walk in there and you go clockwise. And again, you don't need to spend hours there. Every little area. You got a closet, open your closet up. Get some smoke in there. Bathrooms, open up everything. Kitchens, around your bed. Make sure that you're doing that. And all you do is that clockwise motion here like this. Always clockwise is good, counterclockwise is bad. So, you're sending out that energy. This is the actual Vesta, which is going to kick out negative spirits. Go from room to room. Do this before you do practice this. Do this. You can do this before you go to bed at night. Do this in your office. Do this in your car. This is a great way to kick out negative spirits. You want to bring in positive? Well, you can always put Van there. And generally, every time you use a new, that's done. It's all gone now. Now, if you have leftover, incense in there, you take a little spoon, scrape it up, and then pour it on top of the disc. So don't waste any of the incense. It's not cheap. And why waste anything anyway? Well, when something costs a lot of money, you want to try and use all of it that you can. Now, if you want to add more, you can. You got more work to do. That wasn't enough. Well, you do the same thing again. You just, let's see if I can get this on film now. You just sprinkle that on the disc. And of course, these will last for a while. The discs are very cheap, so you can use them over and over again. Once you use the disc, it's dead anyway. It's like any charcoal. You can't relight charcoal. But here we go again. And you can see how it's consuming it. You want to make sure you consume all of it. Don't waste it. And you want to use a whole one of these. Don't break these in half. I used to do that with larger ones, but it's so cheap, it's not really worth doing that, and it's harder to light. It's as simple as that. So then you're doing this clockwise, clockwise. Bring the energy in, bring the energy in. So this is Vesta. You're bringing in the positive energies. You're kicking out the negative. It's as simple as that. The process is the same here. We'll do a little Van now. You pull out another disc. Kind of bum my electric lighter doesn't work. Because those are things I recommend. They're great for candles. Anything we can use. This is a big waste. You throw all this away. Here we go again. But how do you light one of these? You just hold it at a corner. You light the other corner across from there, making sure your fingers are far away. Then watch it take. Generally, you can see how it'll take. Now, right now, you can see how that's starting to burn. Now, if you hold this, it's going to burn your fingers. So drop it in there. It's very, very safe. If you're stupid, well, maybe you should burn yourself. Stupid is as stupid does. Okay, here we go. That's all set up. It's burning fine. It's safe because of the feet. It's got a nice handle to move it with. Let's try some Van. This will bring in positive spirits. Vesta chases out negative. But let's bring in the good guys. Now, this is burning again. It's almost done. Can we see that? See how it's getting to almost the edge of there? See, you can see that. It's amazing how this crosses like a little line. Now it's fully lit. Then you sprinkle right in the center. I don't know, did we get that? Up. Oops. Right in the center of that, you pile up the incense. Simple as that. Oops. What is with all the containers falling over? The spirits are here. I think they're liking everybody and what we're teaching here. So the whole idea is that we have these great simple tools. Now you're putting huge amounts of energy in there. Can't get any easier. Can't get any more potent. Everybody can do this. This is why I love traditional, good old occult science. Because you can't really beat, there's no knobbies to turn. Where's the knobs stuck to it? Well, it's fun having all these things. Here's our advanced unit they do put out. I use both. There's a place for that, but I tell you, you can't beat that. Check out the traditional sorcery course. I'll leave a link down below here. Get the whole course, stock up on your formulas, and your life will be much better. I did this for years. I turned from having nothing in life to making a fortune. I empowered businesses that I did a whole bunch of success with, all of it based on this kind of technology. And it was very primitive back then. I used a lot of junky stuff, and I was still able to force my way through all that stuff. Again, if you want to add more, you can use the same. These bricks, these little charcoals are good for a while. You can place a little more, but do be careful. Don't waste it. And if you do get it on the sides and stuff around here, get a little spoon, scoop it up, and put it on there. Now, you just can't make good quality formulas for cheap. You can make cheap stuff, but you can't make good stuff. Here we go. Let's see if these fly off here. So the whole idea is that it's as simple as that. Again, clockwise through it. Make sure you get in the corners of your room. Are we seeing that? Probably not. There's a corner over there. Make sure you get in the corners. Open your closets. You can even in your kitchen open your where you store your plates and stuff. And again, you're not trying to smoke the place out. You're pushing energy. And of course, as you can see, I always have up in near my altar here, my radionic altar, one of the large energy things you put on the wall. That's shooting energy out here as well. These things are hard to quantify.
Ooh, that's a good word, though.
Basically, it means measure. Quantum is the slowest number, the smallest amount of anything you get. It's a quantum amount. So it's hard to quantify these things. Measure what's going on here, but you measure it in your life. How are you doing? What's going on in your life? All those things that go on with that, you measure with these types of situations. So how is it going? And when you do this kind of stuff consistently, your life really changes. If you try and produce energies in a toxic environment, you're, what is it, shoveling sand against the waves or whatever the cliche that is, good man. Keep your environment clean, use great tools, and you'll see how you break through blockages. This is something you have to do. You have to dedicate your life. Now, all the lazy people out there that don't want to invest in machines and all sorts of other things, all the people that don't want to do much work, well, can this get any easier? So believe me, I'm just as lazy as you. And here's ways of doing it. There are many formulas. You must have 60, 100 formulas that are for everything, love,